next speaker is Professor Hassan Selim, who is director of the CETL. He joined the UAE University in 1997 as an assistant professor of management information systems in the Department of Business Administration at the College of Business and Economics at the UAE University. He has more than 35 years of academic experience working at all levels of higher education. He has been a department chair, a chair of several committees at the department, college, and university levels. His teaching interests include management of technology and innovation, computer applications and business, information systems analysis and design, e-commerce, enterprise information systems, and strategic information systems at undergraduate and graduate levels. Currently, he is the director of the UAE Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, the CETL, and that's why we're here today. CETL is a leading major UAE's initiative, leads major UAEU's initiatives such as the Faculty Professional Development, the Blended Learning, the e-textbooks project, the Blended Course Transformation process, and introduction of instructional technologies, and currently the symposiums that we've been having for the past year. So please welcome Professor Hassan Selim.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to try to use my presenter here because it has a longer range. Actually, it's very difficult for me today to showcase a course that has been piloted only once in front of Charles and Ruth. But at the same time, I'm lucky because I'm going to be expecting a lot of feedback how to improve this course. And what I'll be sharing with you is going to be what the course is all about, an introduction to it. It's MIST 625. It's Management of Technology and Innovation. And actually, I developed this course when I participated in developing the Masters of Engineering Management for the College of Engineering, which is jointly offered, actually, between College of Business and College of Engineering. And since then, I have been teaching it in a style that I'm going to share a typical session with you in the second bullet here, and then how the course is transformed to blended and taught for the first time last month. And I'm going to briefly introduce you to the Blackboard website. I'm not going to get too deep here, but I'm going to just share in a quick pace what are the features there. And some of the narrated PPTs and the lecture videos that we developed to be used online. Hopefully, if I do not get a yellow card or a red card, I'm going to get into the data analytics. I gave you a very brief introduction about the course is about management of technology and innovation. And it is structured in a way that it looks at very innovative business models globally and locally, and try to get some lessons how innovation is managed within these innovative organizations. I'm going to share with you some cases because the course is taught in a case-based style, and I'm going to share with you what cases we're sharing with the students. The course CLOs are straightforward and simple. Well, I'm just trying my best to have our students understand the dynamics of technological innovation and how they formulate and implement technology strategies and understand how to manage ideas in a technological-based organization. And the glass we're wearing is how to manage innovation there. That's the textbook we're using. It's an e-textbook. It's actually authored by Ted and Besant, two of the best in the field. And I'm using another McGraw-Hill book about you can see the title in between the two blue and green boxes here. It's a graduate course offered jointly by the College of Business and College of Engineering, as I said, and it's offered in 10-week sessions over 2 months. So just 8 weeks, and we have 10 sessions in those 8 weeks. Each session is about 5 hours, and we start at 5 p.m. And it's counted as 3 credit hours. And it's mixed genders. We do not have segregation in graduate courses here. And it has been piloted this fall. It was offered starting the last week of August all the way to the last week of October. I had 17 students. All of them are full-time professionals, and they come to the course after long working days. And some of them, they drive all the way from Al Fujairah and from Abu Dhabi and Dubai to attend the course here in Al Ain. I divided the course into 8 sessions in which I have 8 session cases, and I have a term case for each group. And in this case, I had 6 student groups. 2 students preferred to work by themselves. I tried hard to convince them to join other groups, but they preferred to work alone. And I do not actually interfere in group formation in this course. And the final exam is another case. So in total, you can tell that we have huge amount of cases, or number of cases taught in this course, because to me, the main lessons learned from other innovative institutions and how they manage the innovation there. These are sample of the cases covered this semester. You can tell we have Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, one of the most innovative business models in existence. We have Apple Watch up here. We have Electrolux, and you can tell the mix. We have disruptive innovation coming from Acton. We have SAP, #1 provider of enterprise information systems. And we have different approaches of how innovation is managed, because when we look at innovation, it's very difficult to have one size fit all. And these are just 2 samples of a final exam. This was the final exam was conducted in last month. It's about Tesla Motors and how innovative that was, electrical car. Traditionally, here how the course is running. That's a typical session. I'm there about 30 minutes before the session. Just taking the course speed, chatting with students, what difficulties they are going through, and if they have any questions, if they have any challenges. And I just do that on purpose, because I have name tags in front of each person, and after 2 sessions, I know them by name, because the maximum number of students I had here was about 35. And I feel like it makes a difference if, even in the first session, I can call people by names, so because I can see the name tag in front of them. And then at the beginning of the session, I start with a lecture. And that was the part that I did not really like about this, that the lecture is planned for about an hour. It's interactive lecture. We have questions going back and forth. It takes, most of the time, it takes longer than that. And after I finish the lecture, I start lecturing again. But this time, I'm talking about what I call session case. And the session case is pre-assigned. The whole class knows what the case is all about, and all of them must read the case and get themselves familiar and ready to discuss it in that session. And so I present my version of the case analysis. And I always tell them that I learn from you maybe as much as you learn from me, because, for example, I have never looked at the information systems from an Islamic perception. I had a student from Sharia and Islamic studies who taught me lessons about how to do that. And I do that with most of students coming from different backgrounds than mine. So I present my version, and then I get into long discussion with the students. Q&A coming back and forth to make sure that all what I'm planning to learn from that case has been conveyed to the students. After I finish that, I have a group case analysis break. So each group goes into a different place, and they discuss the case together, they answer the case questions, and they come after that analysis break ready to discuss the case at a different level, including the case questions and answers in there. When they come back, we go through another round of discussion, and then we come up with recommendations, and I wrap up the session at the end. And even I stay after the session for about 15, 20 minutes, because I always had those students who couldn't get a chance to express themselves during the session, either because some ladies are shy or because they had a bad day and they do not want to talk. So I just have that after the session. So this is typically session 2 all the way to session 8. Session 9 is actually organized as a conference session. I have all the groups. They work throughout the semester on their term case. And I always tell them, I am the extra member of each group. So come to me always, discuss with me what you have in your minds, and we're going to just make sure that what we learn in session 9 is almost equivalent to what we learned throughout the first 8. So with this group, they were 6 teams, so I had 6 cases presented in a night, which is session 9. And the way I structured this is taken from the best practices in Harvard Business School, actually. For each group presents their term case analysis, they're 10% on the presentation, and that's individually assessed. So once a student takes the floor, going to be assessed individually, and they have a rubric for that. Presenters answer questions asked by other participants. 5% of the grade is on presenters answer questions from the floor, and 5% on the other side of that. 5% on the non-presenters asking the presenters. And there's a written analysis report that represents 5% of the course grade. So when you look at this exercise we conduct in session 9, it's about 25% of the course grade. And that's a snapshot of the presentation rubric that I explain to them and share with them, and it's assessed as part of the Grade Center in Blackboard. Okay, transforming the course. I use different approaches. Again, I said I'm piloting that course. So using the virtual learning environment, Blackboard, the learning management system we use, it was used actually to manage both the online and face-to-face class material. Online discussion was employed there because I needed to expand or extend the in-class discussion to be complemented online, and it's assessed. So if a student doesn't participate at all in the face-to-face, can go online and start demonstrating that he or she actually on top of what the case is all about. I had virtual group consultations because with students located in different Emirates, it's almost impossible to ask them to come and meet their additional group member who's sitting in a line here. So I used Collaborate Ultra to meet with the groups, and that was very nice because we can record it, we can share it, and they can actually go back to what we discussed in that. We have assignments, we have assessments. I have only an open book and open notes final exam. And every single session, there is a grade posted on the following day about the Q&A of the case and the participation there. The participation grade gets updated as long as the participants participate on the online discussion. Data practices, I borrowed that from Charles' last presentation, is used heavily there. I used Analytics for L, and I used built-in data analytics that come from Blackboard in following up and monitoring what's going on online and offline. Video lectures, and that was the tough part because I moved 100% of the lecturing to online. And instead, I used the first 30 minutes of the face-to-face session to discuss what was supposed to be attended online, to make sure that the main concepts are there. Sometimes I go into explanations, but I do not go through presentations or any other components there, just a discussion. So most of the, if not all of the video lectures were asynchronous, accessed by students. I used Panopto to manage the video lectures, and at the same time, this provided me with 2 levels of analytics. The built-in analytics within Blackboard, I can actually know who accessed what and when they stopped. Okay, I know who took the clip all the way to the end. And Panopto itself provides very insightful analytics by itself. So I have 2 levels. I know actually I stated that to them, and I said, you know, guys, you can get away with things in the face-to-face class, but you cannot get away with the same thing online, because I know exactly how did you go in there, and I know the access in seconds. So, and I'm going to tell you what did they respond to that at the end. Narrated PPTs, I use that because in a video clip, when I exceed 5 or 6 minutes, I feel like, well, that's not going to be, you know, right. But with the PPT, I can go longer. This didn't really help me a lot, but I tried that. Online discussion and online consultation. So these are the technologies actually I use to transform the course. Attending Charles' presentation today, that's what made me stay at my office till 9:30. No, I'm not blaming you, but it's actually changing the way I'm looking at the technology. Well, this slide was there. I did not change it, but here what I did to it. I just mapped how he measured the online integration and online interaction to it. So data practice, those of you who attended that presentation, you should remember the 4 competencies that we should master as faculty members. So data practices was used heavily in here. And actually, to those of you who do not know data practices, it's my ability to use the data analytics to build my course. Okay. And let me go back. And the online interaction. How do I divide between communicating with my students face-to-face and online? And you know here the discussion forum and the virtual group meetings was online. And the online integration. It was all over the place, right? Because the technologies I'm using it shows what kind of technologies I master or I should master as instructor to give me that privilege or that leverage of getting into more tools to help my students. And frankly speaking, after looking at this, I think our faculty professional development portfolio is going to be heavily affected by that. And I used that very nice tool presented by Charles yesterday. And actually, he used a couple of examples from my course to, to demonstrate that. Just in case if you're not here, the vertical dimension here is the student activities. Student activities presented to students, either passive, interactive, or creative. And the effects on the practice. Is it just replacing what we do in class without any learning? Or amplifying what we're doing in the class so it's enhancing the tools and the pedagogies and technologies we use in the class? And transforming, doing something that couldn't happen in a face-to-face. And I did my best. I don't know, Charles can help me here. I said the video lectures were kind of passive because the student is watching them online. And they are amplifying. They are actually enhancing what I used to do in class. Now, I can actually share with you how the student reacted to that. And they mentioned that when Dr. Maha had a focused group meeting with them. They said, well, we knew Hassan is following up and know exactly what we do online. Then we're going to play the clip and we're going to go watch a movie or eat or do anything. Then I said, okay. Now I started using Panopto to embed questions in different sections of that clip. So if they do not answer these questions correctly, they cannot continue. So I still know exactly where they are. So this added some interactivity in there. Online group consultation, that wasn't possible, actually. And with that setup, students are scattered all over the country. I said, well, that is transforming and interactive. And the online discussion forum is extending, enhancing what I'm doing in class, and at the same time, interactive as well. So with this, after yesterday's presentation by Charles, I'm looking at it differently now. And actually, in his presentation, he said, well, we always start here, and as we mature, we move all the way to here. So now I started thinking, okay, this course might be offered this spring one more time, so I would like to have something in here, right? So, okay. The Blackboard website, that's how the navigation is actually customized. And that is captured, by the way, which is a nice tool you can use. I'm using Snagit. I have here announcement, and the announcement are, well, that's a nice way of communicating with my students. Whenever I announce something, they get an email, and it's documented within Blackboard. I have instructor introduction. Actually, I just videotaped myself introducing me in my office. And I posted that even before the course started. And now students, they know exactly who am I, how I look like, and how my office even look like. And I did the same with the course syllabus. I recorded myself going through the course syllabus and explaining what the course is all about. And I have the same with the course case policy. I shared with them the detailed rubric about how the case analysis is going to be assessed and what they should do as a recipe. Do you want to get A in class participation and case analysis? Here what you need to do, and so forth. Here are the course documents, the course content, actually distributed by sessions, have 10 sessions. And the session cases and the term case. You can just download them from here. Each group gets a term case. The textbooks I'm using, some very valuable course web links, and here each group can go, and within a group, within Blackboard, that's a very nice feature. Students can exchange files amongst themselves within the group. They can have chat rooms, they can have wikis, they can have blogs. They have their own virtual world. They can actually use Collaborate in order to communicate. And this is a handy tool to manage students who are physically and geographically are not really close to each other. And the discussion forum in here. Even I have the Panopto video link in the bottom. I'm going to change this, Ruth, I promise. The home page, I'm not doing much in here, and that's how the course actually look like. And I have a very short tour in here to show you the announcements here. Every session had an announcement. Even one time, one of the students left his drinking bottle in the class. I had it posted here. Whose bottle is this? That's the instructor introduction. I even have my Google Scholar shared with them by Twitter. They can see my tweets in there, and professional tweets, of course, nothing personal. You see Abdurrahman al-Mukhlafi here, who's one of our popular contributors to the center. And that's just a very tiny part of my introduction clip. Okay. And that's the course syllabus. Actually, I'm doing the same with the course syllabus here. If they are interested, they can have it in PDF. It's all the way in the top. If they want to watch me talking about the course policies, well, if you ask your students how many of you actually read the course syllabus, very few read it. And right in the middle of the course, they came asking you, well, how are we going to be graded on this? And what's the percentage of the final exam? I always tell them, go watch me. Okay. So it's there anytime. You shouldn't actually ask any questions related to the course policies and all that. The case policies, I'm doing it the same way. Now to the sessions. I have folder for each session. Let me play that capture. And for each session folder, I have exactly stated what is expected there, what are the objectives that I'm expecting to achieve in that session, what kind of case we're going to talk about that, what are the contents posted in that folder. And this helped a lot, including session 9. There is a table there, a schedule, which group is going to take the floor when, and the time allocated to each group. I try to be fair and provide every single student at least 10 minutes. And part of the rubric, the fair distribution of time amongst the members, so they lose points if a dominant group member is actually taking more time than the others. Okay, this is one of the sessions, and with the contents in here. Let me play that. This is a part that I might, if I have time, I might elaborate on it, how it was prepared, and what kind of time I spent in order to get that level of course content in there. So that's my lecture, actually. And if the students would like to see me, I'm there. They want to listen to me, they can just listen to how things are going in their mini lectures. Okay, this is the session cases. Can be downloaded. You can see session 2, I have that case. Session 3, I have that case. And at the same time, I have the term cases. All of them were 2018, either Harvard or Ivy cases. Okay. That's my grade center. And it's, you can tell it's very busy grade center because every single session's participation grade is posted there. Every session's case Q&A is posted there. Session 9 scores are there. It's color-coded. Whenever I see red color here, I jump in and I say, well, here's a problem. Because red color means it's less than 70% grade. If it's blue, I say, well, who is that nice person who must just go and recognize the effort and the, well, if it's in between, then it simply means that it's the other level of performance. That's another nice feature of grade centers. If you automate, it's going to be nice. If they automatically submit their assignments, their analysis reports, and all that, this helps them a lot because I go there, I grade, and I put my narrations in there, and they read these remarks in order to just learn for next session's work. These are samples of video lectures. Okay, I'm going to just advance some of them in order not to be in the same thing. Storyboarding and scripting are the two activities I had to go through before getting these mini lectures done. Scripting means that I write exactly what I intend to say in there. and storyboarding what should appear on the screen in here beside me or in front of me. Should I be there at that? When I talk about this, should I just have some kind of animations going around? Well, in here, it's the PowerPoint presentation. But I'm there in the PowerPoint. Sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not there. So it's kind of different. So the students are actually attending it completely, even better than if I deliver it in a face-to-face class. Okay. Anytime. Okay. Here are the narrated PowerPoints, and these were kind of long. Some of them were 30 minutes long. Because it's PowerPoint presentation, I actually failed to cut that short. I'm there in the very first 2 slides introducing what the presentation is all about, and after that, I'm not there. Here, it just narrated. There's an audio running with, I muted it here because it's going to be 5 different voices. Okay, so that is just touch base with what's happening here. Now to the data analytics. This is one of the reports I'm getting. If your eye can help you, that's Analytic for Learn. That's not a built-in tool within Blackboard. That is the different software that we installed at the top of Blackboard. Well, here, actually, this is a comparison between my course and the whole department. For example, this figure here, access. Well, my course, 88 average accesses. The whole department is 29.7. The minutes spent on average, I have 2,473. The average of the department is less than 400. Interactions, 928, and the average of the department is submissions, 82. There's no comparison. By the way, in the first 2 months, when I generated reports from Analytics for Learn at the university level, this course was number 1, and number 2 is Rashid Zahmi from the business administration as well, because he's an amazing guy. Now he's number 1 because my course finished in October and no traffic is there. So I always meet him and tease him, well, you're now number 1, you enjoy it, I'm out. Okay. Now if I go down here, that's the same report, student by student. I can know exactly what's the last date and the course accesses and compared to the course average, even the grade. The grade actually here is compared. This guy's getting 72% out of. That's less than the average because the average was 79. And I can actually, from this report, click on the student name and I get the whole details about student engagement online. Because I get always that question from my colleagues, how do we measure student engagement there? This is another amazing report, the course access and grade center plot. One click, you get this. Every single point here represents a student. So here are my top 3, and here are my bottom 2. When you hover on any one of these, the student name appears. And you can click it. And when you click it, you see what the student actually sees here. And I'm going to go to that directly, the next slide. Okay. I clicked on Syed Ali. I asked him, by the way, that I'm going to share this. And it shows exactly here. The black is the course average. And here, the course accesses made by Syed. And the time in the course, and so forth. And actually provides him with how his performance is compared to the average of the class. The black scatter here is the average of the class. So, and week by week, so in this week he was way below, but in that week he was more active than the average, and so forth. So you can do a lot of analysis. I felt like I'm living in an information overload here that I do not even have time to analyze that and get into a lot of insights that I expect. Now that's one of my favorite too, because it's color-coded. You have 4 quadrants here. Well, here, students is very active and is achieving high grade. Well, here, student is not active and is achieving low grade. Well, these are people whom I approach and ask, what's your magic? Inactive and is achieving high grade. And here, active and achieving lower grades. And it's color-coded. Every single student is here. And session by session, right? Of course, session 11 doesn't exist. That's why all is red. And 12 doesn't exist. But, you know, these are the important ones. And what actually, I had a lady, I still remember her name, Sarah. She's not active, almost at all. And she has a red box in here, and she's achieving very high grade. Then I approached her, Sarah, what's your magic? You're not active online at all, and you're getting A's. And she said, well, sir, I'm very busy actually at work, and I'm overwhelmed. So all what I rely on is reading the PDFs. So that's why I'm not active there. I'm sorry about it. So well, don't be sorry. What are you getting high grades? What can I do? So, and the other way around. So that is a very nice report. And again, you can get into deeper drilling into each student in there. These are some standards report. Whenever you go back to your Blackboard course, look for that evaluation link and click on it. Spend 10 minutes generating these reports and look at them. And I don't think you're going to leave that link alone after doing that, because here are some reports, and that's why I'm asking you, if you go through these reports and you say, well, there is a report in my mind that's not here, let me know. Well, luckily I'm into information systems and I know querying. I can get in and I can generate that report and have it as a standard report available to everybody. Then you're going to help everybody else as well. So here, all user activity inside content area, course activity overview as a whole, course performance, overall summary of user activity, single course user participation report, and so forth. And that's why I said when Charles asked about how do we know that students really got into and read our feedbacks we provide. We can generate that. You can actually know this. I know Ruth is going to talk about analytics for Learn afterwards. What I did is the following. I asked one of the colleges, I said, would you dream of reports coming from Blackboard to you and provide me a list of that? And this college provided the list. I would like to know the percentage of faculty members who are using rubrics and who are into assessment, and the percentage of courses that are getting into this component of Blackboard. And what about the top most engaged courses and who are the instructors of this? That details. So I generated all of these reports and I shared that with them. Of course, these analytics are not and should not be used as a stick to run after faculty. Oh, look at that, your usage is low, then you're not doing your, that shouldn't be the case. As a matter of fact, these analytics can be taken to improve how we're using, because it provides us with eyes that we've never had before. You get insights that are unprecedented and at all the levels. And the structure that analytics is going to be built, actually the VC, provost level, all the way down to deans, department chairs, and instructors, even students, they can get into different analytics at their level with different permissions in there. So a dean can go in there and can drill all the way to see how a single student is performing in a course. So as I said at the beginning, Blackboard to us is a platform, is not really a course management system. It's a lot more than that. And it's not Blackboard because the brand is Blackboard, but as a virtual learning environment is actually a very handy. Was that an easy ride? It wasn't an easy ride. Okay, the time I spent writing the scripts, the time we spent in studios with Jimmy the Magician and Sajid, I don't know where he is. We spent long times in studios trying to record things on green screen and then go back and try to make that look like what you're. But once that is developed, and once you look at the student satisfaction, you forget it. You say, well, here it is. When you ask yourselves, and I think I'm going to link to what Ruth presented, that's me. So when you say, well, Hassan, I'm doing research, and I'm going to be promoted on research, and come on, I can go with teaching very easy. The way I approach this is, what about me? Do I want to be competitive or not? Do I want to always be on top of the emerging teaching pedagogies and the instructional technologies that can make my life easier or not? To me, it has nothing to do with the institution. It has nothing to do with which university you work for. It's you, right? And whenever somebody comes to me and say, well, you know, I have colleagues who are totally against blended teaching and learning, I say, fine. Well, blended teaching and learning is not actually the magic solution of every single course. If you don't like it, don't do it. If our colleagues are not really interested, that's fine. We're going to start with the champions. And whoever in the second row and the third row and even the last row is going to come sooner or later if he or she is really convinced with that. So when you say, well, I'm too busy, I'm going to give you my mind map, which is just one level of that mind map. Okay? Okay. So I teach. I still teach, right? I like teaching. That's why I'm in the academia. And I do research. You cannot look around and see your research questions flying around you, and as an academic, you just watch them going by. No. You have to do something about it. And I'm directing CETL. Well, if I take this to the second level and the third level and the fourth level, I might cry. But what I have a wonderful team that, well, I dream of things and they are done without me saying anything. And I'm chairing the Banner 9 Upgrade Steering Committee at the university level. Well, I'm saying it like that, but this is pain in the neck process that is going to take a year and a half or 2 years. And I'm chairing the university peer evaluation teaching committee and peer feedback teaching committee. And I'm leading the e-textbook project. And I think some of you, I know, they picked up the phone and they called me at 6 or 7 in my office. Well, Hassan, are you there? I cannot find my e-textbook. And I said, okay, do this, do that, and we try to troubleshoot it, and if we cannot, then we leave it to the provider to do it. And I'm leading migrating Blackboard from being on premises to be on the cloud. Analytics for Learn, it happened in 6 months. And I got it before summer, and during the summer, Analytics for Learn was installed. I did not go home, during that summer. I stayed on campus. And starting this fall, Analytics for Learn is being piloted, and we have the Blackboardians working on it now. And I have some of them in front of me, and we're continuing on that. And I'm part of the UAEU strategic planning. And that's over and above the ad hoc tasks. And by the way, I'm a husband. And I'm a father as well. And there is one day in the week that is a sacred family day. Right. Okay, that's my level 1 mind map. And you go back and just think about your mind map like this. You can take it in several levels and have a tiny slot in there for improving you don't have to be in the blended initiative. just try to improve and try to take what Charles talked about, that we have 4 pillars of competencies here. By the way, you did not ask me about personalization. I couldn't do any personalization in my course, and I hope Charles can help me, or anybody can help me how to do that. I had a lady there. Unfortunately, she failed the course. And when I asked to see her, I noticed that she cannot speak fluently, and she has a language problem, and even have some health problems. I tried to help, but I couldn't, because facilities are not really helpful. So try to go back and try to be competitive, and actually our team is going to help you to be exactly that. Thank you very much.